What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly, where we provide, the weekly updates for the Chicago Bulls in terms of their previous results and their upcoming games that they have to look forward to, while also discussing rewards we will give to each individual player. There is a lot to get through in this way, but yeah, look, at the end of the day, the Chicago Bulls, I personally think, had another positive week. Did we lose a game badly? Yes, we did. We've come to expect those. But have we won more games than we've lost? Yes, we have. And I think most Bulls fans will take that every day of the week. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe the Chicago Bulls could continue pushing over into the next couple of weeks. I think we only have 2 weeks to go. There's not that many games left for the Chicago Bulls. So every win matters for us right now. And we're in a very, I would say, interesting position for a play-in tournament spot. We are the 10th seed at the moment. We want to climb and advance into the 8 seeds and stuff of that nature. But to get there, you have to win your games. And although we have some tough games ahead of us, there are definitely some winnable games ahead of us as well. But let's quickly look back a bit. Let's not look too far forward. We had 3 games for the Chicago Bulls this week, and we ended up going 2-1, which again, I predicted a 1-2 result. I think we would have beaten Portland and lost both Philly games. I was wrong in that instance, and thankfully I am. We had a positive week to talk about, and we won a game against Philadelphia, which is very, very nice to see, and we'll talk about that one real quick. Double overtime performance. The Bulls won this game 109-105. A great result for the Bulls. Again, it was sort of a defensive-minded, very much a slow and sloppy game for both teams. It wasn't offensive, minded for either team. Philly came out, played very, very slow offensively. Outside of Joel Embiid, everybody really struggled. The Bulls side of things, our offense was struggling. We very much ignored the paint completely and tried to beat them from the three-point line, which is the wrong way to approach the Philadelphia game. And thankfully we learned from that. We picked up a win in those fourth quarter overtime performances where we played better than Philly, and we deserve that win, and we'll take that win all day long. However, a lot of people had that confidence that if we could win the first game against Philly, we could most definitely win the second game against Philly, especially with no James Harden. But Philly, with the prideful team that they are, they absolutely made us pay, and they dismantled us in the second game against them. We lost this game 116-91. A very, very bad loss for the Chicago Bulls, and it's an unacceptable loss. You cannot perform like that at home. No exceptions, no excuses. Tiredness should not be an issue. Bulls fans spend a lot of money. And look, I can only imagine, because in sports like Australia, I pay a lot of money to go and see those sports. So I can only imagine how much Bulls fans would pay to go and see the Chicago Bulls, and they should not be delivering that type of effort and that type of performance on their home turf. The home court should be a place that is feared and should be a place that is respected. And I think the Bulls really let themselves down in that game. Simple as that. I'm not asking them to beat Philadelphia, even though, look, I'd love to see it. I would have loved to see it the second time around. But I'm asking for more effort, and I don't think that was delivered. And that is really disappointing. Knowing all the good work that we've done throughout the week, throughout the course of multiple weeks now for the Chicago Bulls, a game like that went to us. And we should not let that happen at all. Whether Philly's getting hot or not, the energy and the defense, the whole heart of the team was not there for most of that game. So that's on us, and we got to make sure we play better in the future. As I'm assuming, I'm meaning the Bulls players, not myself. But yeah, disappointing, extremely disappointing. And then we picked up a nice win on the road. Again, Portland were a weakened team. We won this game 124-96. Again, we dominated Portland away from home, but Portland, I give credit to their fans. They stayed loyal, and a lot of their fans attended that game even when most of their players were out, and they stayed for the whole game, which I give a lot of respect to the Portland fans for doing. Because again, if that was their best team out there and they delivered that type of performance, I don't think Portland fans would be very happy with their team either. There is a reason why the Bulls got booed at the United Center. That's because we had most of our team there, and we did not deliver that type of performance that we should see from the Chicago Bulls team. But overall, a positive week. 2-1, still in the play-in tournament, still playing with a lot more wins than losses. And again, that's something that is going to be a positive overall, but that negative is something that I can't really take my eyes off of and just move on from. It's an embarrassing loss, and you should never lose like that at home. From minute 1 to minute 48, it was a dismantling from Philadelphia to the Bulls. So we've got to learn from that, and that can never happen again, no matter who's on our home turf. If it's the best team in the East, the worst team in the West, I don't care. You should never let that happen at home from any team. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of games. Hopefully the Bulls can continue to play well on their home turf, but we don't have a lot of home games this time around in the upcoming week. But before we get there, let's look at those individual performances. We usually give out 4 individual performances award: the must improve of the week, 6th man of the week, defensive player of the week, and player of the week in general. So interesting stuff. Some of the awards are straightforward. I think some of them are also very hard to really communicate with. So looking at the must improve, I think this one is also fairly straightforward. I would still pick Andre Drummond. I believe I picked him last week. I'm going to pick him again. I just feel like we can see more than what he provides. I think his efficiency has gone down the drain recently. 1 from 6 in his last game is not a very good showing. I think with Andre Drummond, it depends on the game. There are certain games when Andre Drummond will just come alive, especially in those small ball areas where he could dominate the glass, get his putbacks and stuff of that nature. He could do so many great things in that area, and that's what he's known for. That's been his whole reputation around the league since he's been in the league. One of the best rebounders we have the pleasure of seeing in the entire NBA in general is Andre Drummond. And coming off of the bench, it's a great quality to have when someone, even if he sucks offensively or sucks defensively, he can still go and grab you 12 rebounds. He has his positives, but I think as an offensive weapon, we can see better than the efficiency that he shows in these games. And we can see more than 2 points from Andre Drummond in this game. So that's where my must improve category will go to. Defensive player of the week, I'm not going to lie, I'm not too sure. Honestly, I have no idea what direction we can go down in terms of the defensive player of the week. When I look at it, you could say Patrick Williams. I really think Patrick Williams is part of it. The guy keeps on getting blocks. He had a couple of 2 block performances this week. He got a 3 block performance, I believe, in his last game. Maybe it's Patrick Williams. Again, when you have someone that slowed down James Harden the way that Patrick Beverley did, that's someone you got to consider. I wouldn't necessarily consider Caruso because he's out of the lineup. Zach LaVine, I wouldn't really consider Zach LaVine either. I think it comes down to Patrick Williams or Patrick Beverley. And I think I will pick Patrick Beverley this time around. Again, 2 from 14 we allowed James Harden to be. Now, I understand the game against Philly the second time around, no one should be in the conversation for defensive player of the week in that game. No one played great defense in that department. But the game before that and the game after that, I would consider Patrick Beverley to be the guy that we turn to in that area. So, yeah, I think the big indicator was how he handled James Harden in that first game. And it wasn't just him. Ayo had a great defensive week as well. Kobe played very, very strong defense as well, especially on James Harden. Derrick Jones got the last block of the game. So he's definitely in competition for that as well, if only he played a little bit more minutes throughout the week. So yeah, there are so many ways we could go down. I would pick Patrick Beverley, but there are other guys on this team that I thought played very, very phenomenal defense. The players that I've mentioned are probably the ones that get the shout out. So fair play to all of them. And the Bulls defense has never been the biggest problem on our team. It's always been the offense. Our defense is inconsistent, I get it, but for the most part, it is solid. It has been solid. Even with Patrick Beverley out of the team, our defense has normally been solid. But there's still room to improve, of course. 6th man of the week, very, very easy for me. Coby White, been phenomenal this week. One of the best weeks I think he's had as a Chicago Bull this season. Absolutely fantastic. Double-digit points. Got 9 assists in the last game. Looking extremely comfortable. He's made guys like Joel Embiid fall. And he can ankle break people. Again, he's just... I mean, there's not much else I can say. Coby White has been fantastic. And you can see that potential now because his biggest problem has always been consistently scoring. His defense has not been a problem this season. I don't care what anybody tells me, his defense has not been a problem this season. His effort and energy and hustle has not been a problem this season. He's one of the hardest working players on the team. We can all see that when he steps foot on the court. But the scoring is one of his weaknesses, unfortunately. It's what he was usually known for. It's now come to one of his weaknesses, inconsistently scoring. When you see a week like this for Coby White, when he's putting up double-digit points with every other aspect, it's honestly incredible to see. And that's the potential that Coby White has. If he can get his scoring at a consistent level every single game, I think not only can he be a starter, but he could be one of our best players. That's the potential he has. Whether it's a 6th man or starting, he has that level of potential. So, again, I hope we give him another off-season, and I hope that we give him a contract to work on his development here, because in my opinion, I've said it already, he's one of the brightest spots of our development. He's one of them. And it's only been a year. Of course, you can have a down year next year. Of course, his development might not be consistent, but I want to see that really. I want to see Kobe get an opportunity to develop himself as a Chicago Bull. And we'll wait and see what ends up happening. I really, really hope the Bulls consider it. I think it'll be a big mistake if we let him go and then he improves to an even better player after he leaves this team, which has been a known fact for most players that leave this team. They go on to be better players. So we'll wait and see what ends up happening, but I'm hoping that the Bulls can keep Coby White. The player of the week is between Coby White and Zach LaVine and DeMar for me, and Vucevic as well. There are a couple of guys you can put in that conversation. It's a tough one. DeMar didn't play that last game against Portland. I wouldn't necessarily consider him as the player of the week for missing that game. Vucevic has been solid, but he's had a couple of down performances as well again. I think for me, the player of the week will be Zach LaVine. It might be controversial, it might not be. I guess it's just open to your interpretation, but that's where I see my main direction for the player of the week going to. Zach LaVine had a great game against Portland. He had a great game in one of the games against Philly. And again, I don't necessarily hold him mostly responsible for any of the bad performances that we have. The game that we got blown out, I would put on Zach LaVine's shoulders just as much as anybody else's. But yeah, I just think overall he's probably had the best week for the Chicago Bulls. And it's been like that for a while now. So fair play to Zach LaVine. Moving over into the next week, we have 3 games that we need to look forward to. Starting off with the game against the Los Angeles Lakers away from home. We're traveling to LA to verse the Lakers. It's for me at 6:30 in the morning. I cannot believe that. That's basically in what? If I release these videos at 2 a.m., it's a 4.5 hour gap, or I'm terrible at math, something along those lines. That's how long it's going to be for until that game starts. I'll tell you this right now, the game reaction will not be after the game, because I have uni and I just simply won't have the time to make it, record it, upload it by the time I get to my class. It just won't happen. So I apologize for that, but again, I think many people understand. That's going to be a hell of a nightmare of a game to watch. But if I'm willing to sacrifice waking up at 6:30, I hope the Bulls win the game. I will not see the Bulls. If the Bulls are at halftime down by 50 or something, I'm just not going to watch it. I'm going to go back to sleep. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, the next game is away from home, back in LA again, the Staples Center against the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm pretty sure Paul George will not play this game because of an injury. We'll wait and see what ends up happening, but that Clippers team beat the Chicago Bulls last time out, and I don't really think it was all that hard game for the Clippers. So let's wait and see what ends up happening in that department. I think that's a must-win game for the Bulls, but it's very, very hard to see the Bulls beat the Clippers. And then we got another game against LA, this time in Chicago. So again, you got 2 very quick games between the LA Lakers. Obviously, LA I don't think has LeBron during this time, so that's probably the best chance of us winning that game. LeBron is a fantastic player, one of the best that we've ever seen, and him not being there is going to provide an opportunity for the Bulls to win some of those games. We have our star players there still, and we have had good records against the Lakers recently. So I hope we can find a way to win both of those games. I'm expecting us to win at least one of those games against the Lakers. Then we got a game against the Hornets. I'm pretty sure the last 2 times we versed the Hornets, the first time they humiliated us and beat us with a very weakened squad. Then the next time we versed them, we beat them, but it was very, very close. I'm worried about this game against the Hornets just because they have beaten us before. So any team that beats us has the capability to beat us again. So extremely worried about that game. And then and I think that's it for the Bulls Weekly. That's all the games that we have to look forward to. Then the game against Memphis is at 5:30. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Anyway, that's another week in advance. Let's not talk about that as well. But that's it for Bulls Weekly. I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. If you watch every week, I'll see you next week. If you watch every day, or if you watch whenever you watch, I'll just see you when I see you. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.